What's up, guys? Time for a brand new 2024 slasher review. We're going to review Founders Day. Let's do this. Founders Day stars Naomi Grace, Amelia McCarthy, Devin Druid, Erik Bloomquist, and is directed by Erik Bloomquist. What's up, guys? Welcome to a brand new 2024 review. Today we're going to do Founders Day. For some reason I was thinking this one came out like at the end of last year, but I think it officially came out in theaters like last weekend or something like that. But I've reviewed Erik Bloomquist's previous two movies. He might have done movies before that. One thing you'll notice about his movies, the budget is going to be lower, at least at face value, than say something like Blumhouse. But where he makes up for it is in the story department, and he gets really ambitious with his stories, and I think that's what always gravitates me towards his movies. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first start watching a lot of his movies, I'm not so sure, and maybe it is because of the limited budget. More times than not, as the story goes along though, something grabs me and it never lets go. I think that's the good thing about his movies, as opposed to there's a lot of movies that start off strong but then they kind of peter out midway through, or even, falling apart in the last act. His movies are pretty much the opposite. I did She Came from the Woods last year, which was a camp slasher, but he always likes to throw a little twist in there and giving you like some witchcraft vibes mixed in. And it definitely leaves something memorable and you can't get it out of your head. So I was really curious to check out Founders Day, and it's pretty much the same type deal.
Many of you have asked why we are moving ahead with today's festivities in light of the recent tragedy.
Also, guys, I want to dedicate this review to David Harrington, one of my patrons. He asked me to dedicate a review to him, and I would gladly do that. So, David Harrington, this one's for you. Thank you so much, brother. So first off, before we get into this, let me give you a quick plot synopsis. This is a political slasher, and in this day and age, that's pretty damn ballsy. But he's able to not really pick a side because both sides are out of their freaking batshit minds, and we just get to have fun with it. And there's a slasher killer going around. So there's this tricentennial celebration. You have this small town with this mayor election coming up. The current mayor, I think, is Mayor Gladwell, going against this guy Faulkner. Really, the movie kind of centers around these young people. A few of them are children of the actual runners, but there is this relationship at the beginning of the movie. Kind of our main final girl, Allison, she has this relationship with this girl, but they're on this bridge right at the beginning of the movie, and then all of a sudden, this, you see these flashing beam of lights coming at them, and then Melissa, she flexes against the lights, and it happens to be our Founders Day killer. And without going into any spoilers, this particular event changes the course of the movie, really starts the panic and the chaos into motion. And what's really crazy about this movie, in the best way, is that it really focuses on greed and power, and even though these killings are going on, the runners for office, they're still just adamant about keeping the engine moving, that they want to win office, and no matter how many people die, they're still going to win. Now, one thing I love about this movie too is just how chaotic it gets along the way, specifically in terms of the characters. You have really kind of two sides of things here, and you think I'm going to say the two people running for office, but no, it's actually the greedy people, being both of them running for office, and how it's affecting their children and the townspeople. And I guess what makes this great is it's believable, especially when it comes to political office. We see it in this day and age. You can literally put the worst thing imaginable in front of a person, and really, I guess their true colors come out. If they're running for office and that's all that matters to them, their own children can die, and it seems like they don't even care. Now, of course, this is amplified for the sake of entertainment, but there's a kernel of truth behind all of it, which I find fascinating. And for a slasher movie, this is hella ambitious in terms of the character department. Just because there's so many players, you got this young couple that are constantly making out with each other, and they're like the bully couple of the movie. You also have a little love triangle going on. I was just talking about love triangles in slasher movies. It seems like we can never get away from them, but they're fun, right? But yeah, you got it in here too, and it plays into the plot of the movie. But the movie definitely has a good mixture of young and, I don't want to say old, but, you know, just, I guess, mature adults. You know, our main character, Allison, her father, they're good people and they're just stuck in the middle of all this madness and they're just trying to navigate through the story and try to not get killed along the way. This movie immediately made me think of Halloween Kills because of just how much panic and chaos can happen in a town when there are murders going on and we don't know who's doing the killing. We don't even know if it's just one person doing the killing. And then you got an election going on at the same time. And you can imagine the reaction of the crowd amongst all this. Also, one thing I really enjoyed about this movie was how batshit crazy the final act gets. And if you think you can guess who the killer is, think again. Because just when you think it's this way, then they pull the rug out from under you and then they go in a different direction. It's insanity and it's hard for me to even explain it without going into any spoilers. But let me just say this. You remember how crazy Happy Birthday to me was, you know, the final act of that movie? I'd say this one's even more crazy. And I say that in the best way. There are some people that are going to probably complain that this one maybe gets a little bit too ambitious in the final act and maybe it could have been tightened up a little bit. And I would somewhat agree. But, you know, in the end, I still had a big smile on my face, you know, because it's not that often that we see slasher whodunits with such an ambitious final act and you can never guess which way it's going to go without being just completely preposterous like I'm looking at you, Scream 6. You know, you're doing a slasher movie and you could go into this and try to just play it safe and you know, you got a really cool looking mask. You know, give us some good kills, check your slasher boxes and you're good to go. But this one dares to take it a step, maybe two, maybe three steps further. You definitely have to pay attention in the final act. Like what the hell? It's just completely insane. And I found it just so fun and refreshing. As far as any cons, I think there's a little bit of shaky acting here and there. I think maybe from a final girl standpoint, Allison wasn't as strong as I would like her to be. But there are other characters in this that I can't even mention to you that I actually loved. So in the end, I'm definitely going to give Founders Day a low purchase worthy. I really had a damn good time with this movie. And by the way, the killing is plenty. There's plenty of blood and crazy whacked out kills. It gets really violent at times, which kind of surprised me because, I don't know, I was just thinking a political slasher, I didn't think it would get as violent as it did. And man, I really loved it. I had to put my bib on when I was watching this movie. There's some really graphic kills in this, but it's not like Terrifier. It doesn't get in the way of the actual movie. And it sounds like I'm picking on Terrifier, but I'm not. That's just that type of movie. Whereas this one, there's plenty of blood if you're looking for that stuff, but also there's plenty of good story too. But I have to say, this movie is not for everybody, okay? It is on the lower budget side of things, but I welcome that when you give me a really ambitious plot. You know, especially if you make it a slasher. There were times in this movie where I was definitely getting like Thanksgiving vibes, right? It just had that feel about it. So yeah, you know, small town environment. So yeah, check out Founders Day, guys, if you get a chance. Let me know down in the comments if you like this movie. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do Free for Fridays. Follow me Drumdums on my socials. Support me on Patreon. Buy me a coffee. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Drumdum out.